In the dappled light of a small village cradled by the arms of ancient hills stood a humble chapel with a single bell. Its clang would echo each Sunday, calling all to gather, to pray, to commune. Among the devoted was Thomas, a young man with vibrant eyes and a serene smile that belied a lifetime of loss. With him, always, was his younger sister Mary, frail since birth, her spirit as delicate as the flicker of a candle in the wind. Thomas and Mary had only each other, their parents having been taken by fever when Mary was but a whisper of life in her mother's arms. The villagers, bound by their faith and compassion, had seen the orphaned siblings through their darkest days, their charity orchestrated silently by Father Andrew, a priest as stern as the oak doors of the chapel, yet whose heart was tender when it came to his flock. But time, the ever-unfaithful friend, began to show its wear. The village, once buoyant with the bubbling laughter of children and the clinking of the blacksmith's hammer, began to wither under the shadow of a relentless drought. Crops faltered, and soon the earth cracked open like the parched lips of the elderly, begging for mercy from the heavens. Amid this gradual decay, Mary's health worsened. Each cough was a siren in the night, each gasp a tether fraying, ready to snap. Father Andrew, desperate to weave some hope into the tattered fabric of his parish, planned a grand Easter service. He believed it could revive the dwindling spirits of his people, a resurrection of faith as much as a commemoration of Christ's. Thomas clung to this hope, praying more fervently than ever, his voice a nightly hymn beneath the vast, indifferent sweep of stars. Easter arrived on a wing of a cold, biting wind. The parishioners gathered, their faces etched with the trials of the past months, their eyes hungry for salvation, not just of the soul, but of the body. The chapel was a raft in the stormy sea of their lives, and Father Andrew was its steadfast captain. However, as the sermon reached its crescendo, a fragile cry silenced the hymns. Mary, who had insisted on attending despite her frailty, collapsed. The congregation gasped, the sound mingling with the tolling of the chapel bell, ringing not in joy, but in foreboding. Thomas rushed to her side, the cold floor of the chapel harsh beneath his knees, his pleas to God raw and tearing. Mary's last breath was a whispered prayer, her hand clasping her brother's as tightly as her weakening strength would allow. The silence that followed was suffocating. Thomas looked up, his eyes meeting Father Andrew's, who had descended from the pulpit, his face a mask of sorrow. The Lord gives, and the Lord has taken away. Father Andrew uttered, but his words, meant to be of comfort, hung heavy, suspended in the cold air. In the days that followed, the village mourned as one. Mary's funeral was a river of white lilies and sombre hymns, the sky mercifully weeping on behalf of a brother who could shed no more tears. Thomas found himself at the verge of faithlessness, his heart an empty chalice, his prayers dust. The drought ended not long after, as if the heavens had only just noticed the plight of the earth below. Rain came, fierce and forgiving, filling the creeks, reviving the land, but for Thomas, the showers could not cleanse the despair that had seeped into his soul. Time moved on. The village healed in the way dry earth soaks up rain, slowly, gratefully. Thomas too found solace, not in the forgetting, but in the remembering. His work in the fields was no longer a task, but a tribute. Each plant he nurtured held a whisper of Mary, each harvest a testament to her enduring presence. Father Andrew watched Thomas from the church doorway, the bell silent above him. The old priest knew the teachings of Christ about suffering and redemption, about death and life, but in the quiet moments when the sun dipped below the hills, his faith was tested by the lingering question of why the innocent must suffer. When the bell tolled each Sunday, it spoke of more than ritual. It sang of resilience, of fractured hearts finding their rhythm anew, of a community knit so tightly that not even tragedy could unravel its bonds. And for Thomas it spoke of a sister who believed, who loved, who waited for him beyond the veil, her faith unshaken, her spirit untethered, ever singing, ever serene.